Story time with Mr. Evans. So your favorite teacher grew up in the great state of Michigan. And when I was in middle school and high school, every year we would take a trip down to the great state of Ohio, where there was an amazing amusement park there called Cedar Point. And Cedar Point was the home of the biggest, fastest roller coaster in the world. This was the roller coaster. It was called the Gemini. And it was fun to go on because you'd get on one cart and your friend would get on the other cart and you kind of race each other through the whole track. And it was a very long ride. It went on and on for several minutes. It was very fun. And because the track was so large, they would have several sets of cars all going at the same time. So there was never a line for the ride, and you could get off the ride and run around and get back on it again and go a bunch of times in a row. So after high school, I moved to Sacramento. I went to Sac State, and I played in the marching band. And one of the other trumpet players there, Jack, became my roommate. And Jack is from the great state of Ohio, and he happened to know of Cedar Point and the Gemini. So every year, the band at Sac State would go down to Southern California. We'd play at one of the football games down there, and then we'd go to one of the amusement parks in Southern California. Oh, that's me right there. And we were very disappointed with the roller coasters in California. They had nothing that compared to the Gemini. So we would tell the other band members, how lame the rides are out here in California and how better they were back east. So years went on, and we graduated and moved on to start our lives. So eventually, a new, fastest roller coaster was built that was higher than the one at Cedar Point, the Gemini. And so Cedar Point had to immediately scramble and build a newer, faster, bigger roller coaster. And then several years later, somebody else came out with a new one that was faster and higher. So Cedar Point, not to be outdone, came out with a new roller coaster that was even taller and faster than any other roller coasters, so they were still the tallest, fastest roller coaster. Well, a few years later, somebody came out with an even taller roller coaster, and Cedar Point came out with an even taller one. So this whole process of going through all the different roller coasters probably took about 10 years. And around this time, my roommate Jack got married. And the wedding was kind of neat. It was a 1920s style, so we all got to dress up in old 1920s clothes. And then for his honeymoon, he took his wife back to the great state of Ohio, and they were going to go to Cedar Point and go on this great roller coaster. So I couldn't wait for them to get back to hear about how great their roller coaster was. And when he got back, I asked him, "So how was this roller coaster? What was it like?" And he says, "Oh, we didn't go on it." And I said, "What, was it closed down or something?" He says, "No, it was too big." And I said, "What do you mean it's too big? You just go on the Gemini a bunch of times, get used to it, and then you go on the big one." And he says, "No, you don't understand. It was too big." So years later, when the internet came around, I started looking up pictures, and I found his roller coaster. This is the roller coaster. Over 400 feet high, and you go straight down in a spiral. And here's some pictures from the wintertime. Ohio has snow, just like Michigan does. This is from the top of the peak up there. And you see this little bitty thing in the corner? Yeah, that was my roller coaster that I was so excited about. And it's nowhere near, it's less than a quarter as tall as this one. So this is the reason why he didn't go on it. So someday I'll get back there and I'll go on the roller coaster for myself. So in searching out these roller coasters, I found pictures of, these are all the roller coasters that Cedar Point had built, getting taller and taller and taller. And they're telling you the height of the highest hill and then the speed down at the bottom of the hill. So what I have done is make a data table out of this. And your assignment today, you're going to take the height of the hill and convert it into meters. Then you're going to use those meters to calculate the potential energy at the top of the hill. And then we're going to assume all that PE changes to KE, and you're going to calculate what is the speed down at the bottom of the hill. And then you're going to convert that speed from meters per second into miles per hour so we can compare it to the speed that they're telling us. Then you're going to make one new column so you can do the comparison between those two. And you're going to need that comparison to answer these two questions. Which one had the most friction on it, and which one are they lying about? End of story.